Hello, 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 and welcome back to Recreate Creative Shared. Delighted to be here again with you. So this is the final little video to go with our collection of three, because we like to do things in threes. The first one was doing a cutout of those photo opportunity booth things that you might see on a seaside pier. Then the next one was talking about how we might dress that up, and I ended up making this headpiece. Like that. And then so then I went ahead and continued on with painting and stuff, and this is what I have been doing this morning. Now my cardboard's a little bit bowed. I should have let it dry flat, but I don't have very much paint here, so I did a quick scene with got the paints out and painted with sorry, I've got a hair on my nose or something, which is why I keep scratching my nose. I did a bit of painting this morning in the garden, which is a lovely thing to do with my small person, with my 2-year-old, and so as we can see from here, she has done this bit over on this side, which is really important, I think, to keep and to have her a part of the process. She loves getting painty. She's actually currently walking around with paint all over her face, and then she decided that I would also become the canvas, as you can see. So this is the scene potentially. Now I was going to cut out some more holes and then draw some characters, do some characters on it, a bit like what I was suggesting to do with this. But actually, I kind of thought this would be a really nice thing to take in a little bit of a different direction, rather than having the holes cut out of the board, would be to actually turn this into a scene where you could have it as like a backdrop for either a photograph, or perhaps you're very theatrical and you love drama and you love putting on plays, or maybe you love doing dance choreography and something like that, and it would be really cool to make a backdrop. Now I'm sure many of the adults, and if not the children, young people and children, will be familiar with Zoom and how you can put your own background on. I personally think it's way more fun to make your own personalised background. Obviously, if you're doing a high profile business meeting, you might want to have something a little bit more calm and subdued. But if you're on with your friends, then you could make it a thing where you always change your background depending on what the occasion might be. So I had done that myself, and I've made some palm tree stem things. What are they called? Trunks. And I thought actually that might start to look quite smart in front of there. And I was just going to cut out random shapes and just stick them on and make the palm tree leaves come over this way. Oopsie. Now, there's not a lot of space here for me and that cardboard thing, but anyway. So I do have 2 of those made out of cardboard once again. And then on the original thing that I had like triangles and squares coming out to make them look like palm tree leaves, so you could pretend that you're on your desert island holiday. And so with that, then I continued on thinking, first of all, before I go any further, so the backdrop. I was thinking as I was painting that it's very... it's almost like creating a graffiti piece as well. And you can see, even just by holding up the palm tree there, that it suddenly gives it a different dimension. So I didn't really mind that this was, I quite like drippy paint, but I didn't mind that this piece here wasn't perfect, because I think I might add to it. So I might add shapes, I might add, I don't know, a little crab down here, or I might do something on the horizon line. I might do some fish shapes. And with graffiti, it's all about layering up one thing on top of the other. So you would start with your big background, and then you would put in some more bigger, say that side, we'll stick that side on, and then we would do our finer details then on top. So you're building up these layers to create an image. So that was my set piece that I've got behind me there, excuse me. And then as I was thinking, okay, I was talking to the people I live with and thinking, oh, what would you like to be? What's your alter ego? And that was a little bit too hard. So we kind of thought about maybe just keeping it within the kind of summer, springtime, hot kind of vibe. So keep it in keeping with the ice cream. And so then I went away because I couldn't resist. I went away and I made a couple of additional things. There is a wonderful, so you might notice, so once you start seeing things, for example, the cutouts, the photo opportunity cutouts, you start seeing bits and pieces everywhere. And this is called, oh no, I've forgotten what it's called now. The something illusion, where you start noticing other bits and pieces. So we did the recording for the videos for this, and then literally the very next day I saw a picture of somebody that had created a painting, a big painting, probably on something this size, of sardines, and then cut out the sardines' heads to put the human faces through in exactly the same way that we did this. And then this morning I was shown something of a Zoom office meeting of somebody putting their head behind. So you could create like an office scene, like with your books and your library and your lights. Anyway, I was very taken by the tin of sardines. So I decided to create a sardine mask with glasses on to give it the summer vibes. You know, these are supposed to be sunglasses to give it the summer vibes. This is made out of the same tatty cardboard box of this one. And as you can see, there's a natural bend in the card. But I actually quite like that there's a bit of a bend in the card there. So this might be, you might have a character, like start to think of characters that you might want to dress up in your 2D costume dressing up box. So that was one of the things. And then I'm very much influenced by what people say and what people talk about and all of those kind of things. The person who suggested this said, oh, what about a sardine with sunglasses? And I went, okay. And I think they thought that I wasn't going to do it, but I did. So then the last one was, this is for my little person. Oh, and when I was cutting out the circle, I used the same circle that I cut out from here. I could actually pop that back in, maybe turn it into a sun or something. I could pop that back in there if I wanted to, if I wanted this to become a whole piece again. So then the last one is a glorious starfish. So we've got some very seaside vibes going on here. So I wonder what you guys would come up with. Now, one thing I wanted to leave for the video itself was, okay, so we can hold them up against our faces, which is completely fine, but how would we secure them onto our head? So I'm going to use my ice cream one. So I like using all of the parts of the cardboard box. So I just cut some additional strips of the raggy old box out here. And what you would do is you would measure the back of your head, so like that, bring the piece of cardboard down. This is just one of the tops of the strips that close the box up. So I just cut them at that length. So I think these are going to be a tiny bit too short because I do have a giant head. And so you would measure your head round like that. And then on the back of your head thing, you would sellotape that on there, or glue, or staple. I would recommend sellotaping because sellotape is quite, if you've got like nice big parcel sellotape as well, it's good and strong. And then so it doesn't slip down, and also to give it some structure to make it hold up, I would then do another one from the back to your band that's going around this way, so it doesn't slip down. So you're keeping it kind of, you know, where you want it positioned. You'll need probably a couple of hands for this. So there we go. So we've got that like a mohawk. Keep battering things above my head. You've got that like a mohawk at the back there, and then the other one across the back, just to make it nice and firm so it sits on your head properly. Or if you wanted to, if once you cut these out, you might want to, there's something quite beautiful about them being like a separate piece, but you might want to have them like swimming out of the, and then you cut your hole out behind. So take this out again. Okay, so you've got that like that. Looks kind of cool. I really like that as well. So there's loads of ideas there. And oh, the last thing was I also kept the bits that I cut out, so you can see, oh look, it's like a, it's so funny when you do these kind of things. You're like, oh, I kept this random piece of card because I was like, oh, actually I quite like the shape of that, and I thought, oh, it looks like a kind of like a crash helmet or something, but actually seeing it there, I think it might make quite a good beard. Oh, entertaining myself. Right, anyway, so I'd like to thank you very much for joining me on this little 3-part series of creating, well, a multitude of things. This could be so many different things. And I hope you enjoyed them. And I look forward to seeing you again soon in the future. So take care. All the best. Bye.